Thank you.
Thank you.
Cliff?
Yeah, my report, from now and probably until February, permits are probably gonna go down to 0. Every year it happens. Inspections are still being done. I hit the codes conference last month, got my certificate, good for another year. Most of you know, on Halloween, there was a house fire up on Brower Road. I was at it that morning of the fire, and then I went back at the request of the Amish in the afternoon. Of course, it takes a bit, and they wouldn't have gotten a permit off me until the following Monday. But the way they work it is, if someone loses a home, then everybody comes in and they get them back going. Discrepancy of the code officer, which is me, it was my decision to let them start cleaning up right after the fire and go with the block foundation. Paperwork was done on Monday, so that was my call. Whether you're Amish or not and you lost your house, that's the way I would probably do it. So they talked to me, the elders, we knew what was going on, I gave them the okay. There's a couple people who were not happy because the Amish were doing work without a building permit. Once again, if you hear that, please have them call me so I can take care of it. It's my job. It's nobody else's job. So it was my call, everything went well. Sorry they lost their house, and so, but they're back in this one here. And I'll be up there next Monday, so. And that was done on my day off. Not a problem. But there are going to be times where I have to make that call, and it says in the state code, discrepancy of the code officer. So just want to let you know. So if somebody says something, I still want the board to back me on what I do.
What would be the concern?
Concern for what?
What would somebody say? What would their concern be with the decision?
Why did we let them start without a building permit? 2 people complained about it.
Got it.
So, and if they weren't Amish, if they were English, I would allow the same thing.
But legally, it's up, you have, in an emergency situation like that, it's up to you. It's at your discretion.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
You got it.
No
And
way.
that's it. I was hoping to say, be the first one to say Happy Thanksgiving, but Art, I'll be second behind you. Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving.
You know,
You're the first one to say that.
Here next month.
don't even say nothing. That's it. Anybody have any questions?
Anything new on the other house that's
Oh, yeah, sure.
burnt?
Up on Salem?
Yeah.
It's in the system.
It's in the system, okay, thank you.
Yep, he was in court and don't know what the decision was. I guess he's trying to get enough money to take it down, but it's all in his hands.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
Thank you. Linda?
Not much to report, everything's going as normal, and I'm trying to get a little bit ahead to start, with the taxes on January. You know, getting things in order, but everything's okay.
Any questions for Linda?
Oh, do I bring this up now? I got a letter of interest. I think it's it's from Laura Lee Whitlock, so I think it's from,
For the steering committee.
what do they call it, the steering committee?
Yeah. So that should go
That'll have to go to the steering committee, and then they'll
Okay.
make their recommendations to
She
the
dropped
board.
it off to me, so I didn't know what to do with it.
Okay.
So, here's the. Thank you.
All right, that's it.
Planning board.
Come on, Linda.
We did one subdivision, which we hadn't done in a long time, and, I think that's about it, because we've got everything else taken care of, and we're just looking at, the steering committee with the updated comprehensive plan, and, we spent the last meeting trying to come up with questions for a survey and how to get it out to the residents so they'll take the time to answer and, you know, get things back to us, so still in the baby stages.
Thank you. And Board of Ethics.
again, as usual, we don't have any real issues to report, so
Yeah, I wanted to.
we don't have any issues right now to report.
I don't know. Thought I was your colleague.
Thank you.
You're one of me, you're fine.
Okay.
What's going on?
Tony's here for the court. I'm just more of
Oh,
a
oh.
court guard staying there.
Oh, okay. Are you just here for our meeting?
Yeah, I was told to be here. I thought it was for court, but apparently I was called just to stand by him. and see.
Okay, sorry to put you on the spot.
Don't last any knowledge.
It's a wild and crazy crowd. Okay, open it up to public comment. Paul?
Paul Spencer, Palatine Bridge, in case there's anybody here who doesn't know me. Tonight I didn't know whether I was gonna have a committee from the fire safety thing or not, so I was suggested that I use public comment for it. I'm gonna pass out some handouts to our board members that I've assembled here. And this is kind of some research that I've done in the last month. Yes.
Thank you, Paul. Thank you.
That's my copy. I gotta have something to read this way. As you scan through that, if you'll notice, stapled to the back are some of the incidents that have the need for a safety pond or a pond, whatever you want to call it, is in those clippings that I took out of the newspaper. There had been quite a few conversations with Mayor Post of the Village of Palatine Bridge, Rodney Sutton, and I didn't get with Vermont Engineering per se, but we did some communication with them as far as doing the possibility of a fire hydrant on Cook's Corners, which would be in the northwest corner across from Skip Bearshide's residence. It seems to be, as we kind of research, the water pressure at that particular point is very nearly zero. We're not sure of the pipe size, and we're not sure, because we don't know the pipe size, we don't know how full that pipe will be if the fire truck will be pumping from it. At the 12,000 or 1,200 gallons a minute, it could, what they use the term, cavitate the pump, and you can have a success rate of pumping water from that site. Another point that's not in here, I did happen to run into a person who has, a contractor who has the ability to bore under the road. Just to get under the road, we're talking between $8,000 and $10,000. That's not in this report here. We write that down, whatever. Okay. Now there's also a hydrant at the bottom of Failing Hill. This is kind of an anachronism on the whole situation, because when the fire at Brower Road, one of the fire trucks tried to fill at that hydrant, but the new truck was new and he didn't have the correct adapter to go to the hydrant. So that became illegal. As it was a result of the fire that was on Brower Road, they used Isaiah Lazarus Pond as the pump point. And I would estimate, and I lived on that same road, that they probably took 15, maybe 18, maybe even more truckloads of water out of that pond to fight that fire. In the process of fighting that fire, they didn't lose the house. Usually with rural structures, you're going to lose. Your father-in-law lost his house. And like I said, with the 11, this is something I was going to interject in here. I always remember Mr. Mallison saying, the loss was tremendous, but things that could not be replaced, like pictures of his family, his parents, grandparents. I don't care, all the money in the world, all the protection in the world could never replace those things. But the fire company was able to save, like in my case, my old building, the fire last week, or Halloween day, they were able to save a tremendous large barn. And those stories go on and on as far as. The town of Ephrata, also I did some research on that, the town of Ephrata at present has 3 ponds that we can pump from, or the fire companies can pump from, with the 4th one is planned. They also have a dry hydrant in Peroga Creek, which is right across from the Brookside. I've seen that and I never knew what it was. Now I realize what it is. They pump directly from the Crover Creek. That leaves the center of our township. Basically, as I mentioned before, it's on the map, and I gave it to you last month. We have a hydrant about 3/10 of a mile up from, on Route 10, east of Lock, Stock, and Barrel. That has never been tested. We don't know what kind of water supply you're gonna get, what the deal is there, we don't know. It's never been tested. So my analogy of this whole thing here is that leaves the center of the township, basically, we got the edges protected, we got the north edges protected, and we also probably, with some investigation, could probably put a dry hydrant up in the Route 5 Crover Creek area, which would protect the eastern end. We don't have anything in the center of the township. That's my own analysis on that. You board members can appraise that and think about it and go wherever you want after that. That concludes my report on that.
Thank you, Paul.
Thanks, Paul.
I don't have a copy of any of it.
Oh, I got a couple, excuse me. I got one other thing.
I don't have a copy of it.
In a minute.
You should keep it. Well, I don't have any of the other ones he's had either, so this will be the first one that I have.
Make
But
sure
I'll
to get
take it.
them whenever there's a written.
I wasn't quite done. I had
Okay.
a couple more issues. In the October 25th, was, I mentioned that the pond design that I had laid out would hold 1.5 million gallons of water, not a gallon and a half. The minutes state a gallon and a half.
Right.
The other
I'll
issue
correct
is,
that.
the other issue is, the question was asked, where's the water gonna come from? My answer to that was, if you stand where the pond location is, if you look around, the land all slopes towards the pond location. Are you listening, Betty?
I'm listening.
Okay. I never said that it comes from the street. In the
I
minutes,
only asked you where it was gonna come from.
I explained that. Somebody put in there that it comes from the street, which I would not do because you can't do it.
Yes, you did, we heard it.
Not.
Yes, you did, we
Much
said we
longer
heard
got
it.
along.
Okay, enough.
Thank you.
Thank you, Paul.
Thank
Any other comments? Any other?
I do. He referenced that there was a fire committee again. There is none voted on. And that pond up there, like Corey Nellis said, is gonna take $20,000 to $30,000 to put a liner in there to start with. And you can't guarantee it's gonna hold any water. This is a waste of our money. There's ponds everywhere that property owners said you could use. Why not use them? Why waste our money? That's all I gotta say.
Thank you. Any other comments?
Happy Thanksgiving,
Happy
everybody.
Thanksgiving.
Oh, and another thing, she just called us fucking assholes sitting here. I would like to have her removed. And that is not right. We didn't say nothing to her, and she called us that. She needs to be removed.
Any other comments?
Everybody has a right to say what they want.
That's right.
Not call people
Okay,
that.
Stop.
That is rude.
I think it said you were ignorant.
Any other comments? Before anybody, before Paul goes again, if anybody who hasn't spoken. Okay, Paul.
Again, I didn't want to blend this in with the fire business. I take issue with a few things here. And I'm going to make the issue is the steering committee was established to basically realize where the town of Palatine is and where it's going to go. At the October 25th meeting, Councilman Sanders made a political football out of the steering committee and its appointments and so on by making a motion to nominate 4 residents to the committee, 2 of which are not even interested. To me, this is railroading at its best, because 2 of the residents, like I just said, were not interested. The favorite 2, if the motion is passed and everything, would be appointed. Councilman Sanders, in this case, in your case, The axiom applies. Good habits are hard to make, bad habits are hard to break. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments before we close public comment? Sandy?
Do we have to keep bashing Betty? I mean, come on, Paul. Enough is enough. She hasn't done anything wrong. It's bad enough that she's
You
being
need to
attacked.
address the council. This is
It's
not a time to address
bad
each
enough
other.
that the rest of the board up there attacks her too. Enough is enough. Emails, nasty emails back and forth. I think it's harassment, and I think it needs to stop. And it's up to you to do it, Sarah.
And it's pretty sad when you can let other people sit here and
Please
swear
let
at.
Sandy finish her public
I
comment.
don't care. She's swearing at people.
Well, it's up to you, Sarah, to take control of that. Because it makes you look like a fool too. Especially the nasty emails going back and forth.
Any other comments? All right, motion to close public comment.
I'll make them.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, moving on to council member remarks. I have, we need to approve the budget today. You all have it in front of you. We've had our workshop. We went through line by line. We made changes by email. Basically every concern that was brought up was addressed. So what we would be passing under resolutions and motions is what is exactly what's presented here, except with the $200 addition on page 6, thank you, to
To the seniors.
6772.4. And there would be a correlating $200 change on the income side under real property taxes.
What entity does that actually go to? You say the seniors, but is it a
Dorothy,
cooperative?
who does it go to?
Manager Harry's senior citizens.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Does anybody have any questions for me about it? But it does not, this budget, while it addresses many of the concerns that the state comptroller had regarding the way that we had been budgeting so conservatively and in fact overtaxing because of that. We've taken care of that issue. We're now, if anything, we may go over our budget, not too much, a little bit, line by line. May need to dip into fund balance, we understand that. That's okay though, because we have a pretty healthy pillow. But it doesn't, one of the other main concerns is that we had never properly set up some kind of reserve fund, given that we had this, it'll be over at the end of this year. Outside of highway, it'll be over $800,000. So there are two different kinds of reserve funds that you can set up. One is type and one is specific. For a type reserve, you're basically saying, look, we know we have this relatively large amount of fund balance. We want to designate it for some unforeseen capital or equipment expense. That way, if something comes up, like a plow goes down out of nowhere and we hadn't budgeted for it, if we are all of a sudden required or just want to put up a salt barn, if you want to build a town hall, if you want to, you name the equipment, or if you want to build a pond, you name the equipment, or municipal building project, the type reserve would cover it, and there's no need to, it's not eligible for permissive referendum when you set it up. However, when it is used, then it is eligible for permissive referendum. So if, let's just say we set up, I'm recommending that we set up a type reserve of $450,000. If we set that up and next year the town council says, oh, you know, let's, I'm just making up some, if the town council says, let's, we need another, we need a $300,000 piece of equipment. They can do that, and then within, you know, some very specific amount of time, residents of the town can petition for a permissive referendum to be held, and then they could vote on it. Or if there's no concern about it, if it's just a very obvious expense, which is usually what happens in towns, then it doesn't go to permissive referendum, and you just go ahead and spend the money. So it's a good way to address the comptroller's concerns, but also have, you know, some kind of accountability to the taxpayers.
Is there a hard criterion for how many citizens would have to ask for a permissive referendum?
Yeah, I don't know what it is offhand.
Okay.
Doesn't have to be over 500,000 in order to put up a referendum.
For permissive? I mean, I don't, what we would be doing is setting up the type reserve. There's no requirement for permissive referendum.
So Sarah, are you going to introduce that resolution then?
I did.
Okay,
That's
okay.
fine.
I didn't know if that was, okay.
It doesn't need a vote or anything, but there it is.
Okay.
And if, you know, folks have input and you think it should be a different amount, or, you know, or 50 is too much, or too small, I mean, it's just a starting point.
No, I was thinking we have about $900,000 outside the highway, which is going to be down to about 150, because we're going to take 250 out of fund balance to fund the truck, right? Oh, that's out of,
That's our highway.
right, that's what I'm saying, so the highway's going to be down to about 150. Okay. So highway will have 150, which still is enough to fund, you know,
Its own.
its own way. And even if the needed repairs are made here, there's probably still 850,000 left.
There'll be
So if we put 500,000, say, in that fund, that covers us to cover any kind of expense, and I feel better about.
It has to be capital or equipment, but the way that I worded it, I included land acquisition,
Let me look at it.
municipal buildings and permanent improvements. So it could be like digging the water lines, or the acquisition of municipal land or equipment. So it's really it's the broadest that you can do under this category. So it leaves it wide open to what any future town council might wanna do.
It's the reconstruction of a municipal building. You've got two different numbers there, which is supposed to be, you got 500 there and 400 there.
Oh, I'm sorry. I put in 5, sorry, not 450.
I think 5's a good number.
There are other reserve types outside of capital reserves. You can do a plowing reserve, which would account for if there's you think you might have a year where you're gonna go way over, you would use your plows. Now, this doesn't really make sense for a municipality as small as we are. This is for like, Hempstead, Long Island, which is just, you know, has a huge fleet of plows on the road and, you know, a really bad year can set them back upwards of $1 million. For us, a really bad year is not gonna set us back so much that it's gonna tank the town. And again, we have a, you know, pretty healthy fund balance, even if we set aside this as a reserve type.
If I remember from the controller's office webinar, that still allows us to we're allowed to still invest that money even though it's in the reserve fund, isn't that correct?
You must.
Right.
Okay,
At
good.
this is worded at the discretion of the chief fiscal officer, so it would be starting with me and then it would be Bell in January. Which is pretty, I just took this language from it, this is their recommended language.
Okay.
Okay.
And their recommendation is that it just gets the investment proceeds, just would get, put back into the fund. So it starts at 500 and then
It can grow or
according to the investment.
Okay.
Yeah.
No. That sounds great.
Fortunately.
So are you going to?
So yeah, it says 5.
Are you going to introduce it and then table it the next month, or do you?
Yeah,
wanna-
so just introducing it, I wanted to talk to you all about it and then have a chance to hear public comment at the next meeting. But yeah, then it would be for passage.
That'd be great.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
And that then takes care of the major concerns of the comptroller's office, except for the long-term plan. And at this point, because we have a new incoming council, it doesn't really make sense to pass any kind of long-term plan because there's not, you know,
No.
that's really up to you
Let the
guys.
incoming board do that.
Yeah, that's it for me. Anybody else?
Okay. I'm sorry. You want to go ahead?
Okay, I'm very brief. Okay, as everybody can see out here, Hazard has gotten underway with the new electrical. He's gonna finish that 11/24 Black Friday because there's nobody here. He thought that would be good not to interfere with anything.